people on the show. This is one that we are directly. This is because of all the conversations we've been having in the academy groups with our students. We really thought of bringing these two wonderful women on the show today. So I have Anu ma'am, and I call her Anu ma'am. I think she'll forever be Anu ma'am for me, but she is also someone who comes with a huge academic background. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then I have Riya Jain, who's here as well. She's the head of our academy. But Anu ma'am, like I can't call you by your full name. Also, it's the mental blocks. I just have to say Anu ma'am all the time. So Anu ma'am, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here today?
Paul, there's no need for me to be introduced, but as the and Mugdha teaching me as well, because it's always a tool that no one can teach anyone. It is basically your experience. So me, I am Anuradha Shekhar. I have been in college for past 33 years, and now I'm a professor. But I'm a convener of NL, also working for IAPN, which stands for Enteral and Pediatric Association for that, as well as I work in Indian Mission as their nursery committee convener as well. So I've been dabbling. Today we are all here to talk about you guys, nutritionists who are dietitians all over this, to figure out how to come out of our shells and profession more visible, because the number of years we spend requires us to even practice it. It's not just us, but it is girls like Mugdha who are trying out research and coming out with some kind of solutions. They might not be perfect right now. They are working on so many different areas, experimenting, and dance as an experience for me, because I've seen the from being a very, very, I think I can call her an over, who had her problems in her life, but how she sort of all those and come out as a winner. And today, giving to so many students and from different walks of life, proud seeing these kind of girls, because I don't think as teachers we've done these kind of girls are required today to make sure that nutrition and stand tall and take the country forward, the world, the way it should. So thank you once again, Mugdha, for giving me this form to put my views. It's just a dialogue here,
Yeah.
and we can go on it. It makes some sense on what all we deliberate today. So thank you once again.
Thank, thank you so much for saying all those kind words, and it's lovely having you here. Riya, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, the people who are watching this?
Yes, Mugdha. So my name is Riya Jain, and I am the head of iThrive Academy, as Mugdha mentioned. And I agree with you, Anuradha ma'am, word to word, that Mugdha has empowered us, the nutritionists at iThrive. We She gave us this opportunity. You gave me this opportunity to work at iThrive, to head iThrive Academy, and whatever I am today is because of what Mugdha is doing and has done. So I agree with you, Anuradha ma'am, and yeah, I find myself grateful for this opportunity to speak on this topic that we are going to take ahead. So that's me, and I'm also a functional nutritionist to end with.
Yeah, I want you to introduce yourself, not like talk about me. Okay, this is about you, like your journey and how you started, and now you're like literally heading the academy, and we've taught so many people functional nutrition, right? So that's what I really wanted you to share. So go ahead, tell the world who you are.
Yes. So yeah, again, repeating that, I head iThrive Academy. So iThrive Academy is now providing a certificate course in functional nutrition. We are coming with master classes. We have plans of starting diploma courses in sports nutrition and so on. So that's about the academy. That's what I do. I am also a functional nutritionist. I did my masters. I completed my masters in nutrition and dietetics back in 2018, and 2020 is when I joined iThrive. So it's been 2.5 years since I've been working here, and there is a lot of new learning and unlearning at the same time. I think there's a lot to talk about the unlearning related to the topic today. So yeah, that's about me.
It's so wonderful to have you both here. And I think Anu ma'am, Ria is like an absolute example of what it really means when you focus on your career and like, you are willing to be unstoppable about it and the kind of growth that can be seen. So, thank you so much, you both beautiful women, for agreeing to be part of this on a Friday evening. I have a few questions that I'm going to ask you both, but my first one, so Anu ma'am, you were the head of the department at Dr. BMN, and you've had many, many years of a career as an academician. You've seen so many girls actually graduate, go through post graduation, do even their doctorates and all of that. What is your perspective on nutritionists? Like we all come, like even I studied the field because I really loved like working with food and understanding the body. So what's your perspective in the last so many years of you doing this, of nutritionists coming in, studying, graduating, and then eventually actually succeeding in their careers as nutritionists? Because from my own batch, there aren't many who are doing this work, right? And then I can say that about my seniors. I can even say that about my juniors a few batches down. So what is it like? What is your perspective? Like girls come in, they study this subject, and I don't see the kind of success that should be visible when it comes to this field.
So, as far as there are many hurdles in a female's life because
Right.
we are using this as a stepping stone to probably our lives. And one more headache in especially in our females' life is that we get married, very focused in doing some kind of work. It again has to deplans himself. So if he is going to take me to another state, another, so I again need to establish myself. I have to sort of look at it in a very different angle. So startups, yes, they do work, and what I have a tenure is there is definitely more in generation than our generation because I see them more. I've seen them becoming sports nutritionists. And basically working for another person rather than starting our own
Okay.
adventure. Whomever I have seen come up in life had a challenge.
Hmm.
Until unless life throws a challenge, I don't stand tall to show off the world that if you can do this to me, winners out of it. So I've seen not only you, Mugdha, there are so many that I've seen who are today doing wonderfully well because on them. And that was one of the sometimes a challenge comes in front of you, you don't want to prove yourself. You have got all the works with you and you are not taking it, or you're not showing the ability that you have to the world. Something like this which is stopping us. And one more thing is, as Indians, or funds to start anything.
Right.
And if Ria has joined to learn from you how to tackle in kind of a job, and then she will learn it 5-6 years, then only she'll get that confidence to stand on her own. On her own again requires a lot of guts, commitment, and in an area, because now if she gets married and again goes somewhere, restart everything again, because the connections that you have made today, topple down. So again, you need to redo yourself. I've seen her immediately after marriage. She worked in Mumbai. She worked with our college. So there was, she also did the same thing as you guys did, but there was a challenge. Changed everything. And one day she had even come to my college, and I made a talk about gut health. one girl got so impressed with this girl that she got health certificate just because, and she gives me that, Anu ma'am, you brought Mugda ma'am, and I got this.
Okay.
So as a teacher, my role is to pick up these students, put them on a platform, and tell the girls that this can be done. Okay, her beverage, you know, and she said, "Ma'am, I drink kind of problems," and then she spoke about gut health, and she was so very class. I'm telling you, she literally floored my students. And that I don't
Okay.
think Mugdha realized that day, or probably she, but she had it in her. I could see this in her. So she was pretty, overweight. And immediately after 3 years, all talking big, and my God, a major change in her life. I think so. Sometimes the challenges which are faced, which are poured on us, really make us more confident to show the world that, and you did it. So it's the same thing. Again, in my tenure, I, there are so many girls, like even Kajal Bhatia, for example,
Right.
mother of a child, she comes back, does her BSc, and today she's standing tall, and she's now started her own entrepreneurship. On credibility, she is a name to reckon with. So, a master chef, winner, all of these, and we have Bijal, who is into uh, making these for advertisement. So, nutrition is not going to keep you in one area. Would I like to ask me, ma'am, are the girls healing the world? But opportunities need to come in, and if I do clinical nutrition, probably taking a job in a hospital setup or a dietitian. But if I'm making a lot of food products, I'm not very interested in, healing the world. In sense that I'm making a product which would heal you, gluten free, or I'm
Right.
making something with an artificial sweetener. So even that is something which I need to realize that I have this when I'm in the BSc, in the graduation program. Just a base. I cannot think of any girl doing excellent degree in her hand. But there is also something called motivation. Now, if I praise Ria for her commitment to iThrive. Now, not
Mm.
everybody see a lot of different kind of teachers. We see a different kind of be something inside you to sponsor yourself, or to give to so even in my case, I sort of made the food product, took it a little ahead, and made the girls realize that make this product, something will come out of it. So the girls started getting a little more confident. They've taken it to publishing their papers. So until the student, I don't think the students will actually do on their own. Internships should be intensified, even at the BSc level,
Yes,
even at the
I
MA.
agree.
And just having theories is not the very important. So you have to finish your theories. But again, if you have 3 lovely internships placed in the middle, so that the girls also get girls to counsel patients. Now, when you do not have counseling skill, address this issue. So until unless I train them to counseling, good counselors. So this needs to start from the very beginning. So we do giving a lot of confidence to the students, but at the same time, there are developed even in our courses to make sure that these people know a case study, how to read the reports, how to even it's not hospital kind of a case study, even a simple case study like hers that she was living down. I need to report it in a very proper needs to be incorporated in all our for practicals rather than theory. But theory is equally program should be more theory, and the
Yes.
practicals can come in your MSc and intensified where practicals are concerned.
So I
And
agree, right? Like,
now
of
this,
course,
yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
nowadays the streams are also, if I'm training for clinical, I have to be a clinical dietitian. If I don't have to read so much as clinical, right? I'll have to read more on ethics of sports, the endurance, the this or that, the various kinds of kind of issues and things like that. So injuries, doping, these are the things that well and probably counsel. But what is happening is in a theory them some notes and they study and we try to explain this, which come to you. Like there could be a, a cricketer knee injury along with asthma, and also imagine you'll have to make a menu plan for that person.
correct.
So these are not taught in the college level. So this is where I feel,
Yeah, I think that's one area, like definitely in terms of real time clinical cases, and that's something we've even tried to address in our academy to actually give people real first hand case studies, examples, and like use our experience with working with clients itself as material for the course. And you're absolutely right. Like if there are no challenges, there's no orientation towards growth. And like in India, especially the marriage and the child thing is something that does become a complicating factor. Ria, from your perspective now, I think we started our 15th batch, right, in
Yes,
July. So
yes.
you've been like heading the academy for the last year and a half, and of course you've been a nutritionist yourself. And you're someone who's married, and you could still pursue your career with just as much equal importance as your husband is pursuing his, and you've kind of grown also in that kind of a phenomenal way. So what's your perspective on like? I don't know how many of your batchmates are still practicing. I don't know how many of them are working in the same field. Maybe the ratio has changed now compared to my batch. But what's your perspective on the girls, even now the boys in Simbi who graduate and then, so, like the ones who succeed in their careers as nutritionists, right? What's your perspective there? What's your take there?
See, I agree with Anu ma'am. It's all about practically applying everything what you've learned, and it's not always enough. Like what you've learned throughout your
Right.
bachelor's or even masters. Some people think that after doing the graduation and having done masters 2 years, it's called masters. So I've mastered it, and I'll be I'll go out and I'll be there. I'll be successful right away. So that's not a thing actually, because even as Anu ma'am said, right, there are some things that you learn after you like start applying it and actually start working in this field. And of course, there's not just one side. You can explore and things change. So before I started my master's journey, I had this thing in my mind that I'll own a clinic, just like everyone else did. That was just one thing in my mind, that one small area that I'd explored, that I'll own a clinic and I'll counsel people as a dietitian. But then my perspective changed 365 degree after I passed out, and I no more had interest in counseling people. I was more into research and all of the other areas that I had explored.
So there's this very funny story behind this. So Ria had been with us for 6 months. She had come initially. She joined like to write articles and to do like the reports, the analysis, and all of that. And I was like, I thought she's somebody who really wants to get into coaching and counseling, right? So I was like, she's doing so well, so maybe it's time she actually goes into and starts doing client work. So I told her like, okay, Ria, the next client that signs up, you can work on their case. And then she looked very tense. Like that was Thursday evening. So Thursday she looked very serious. Friday she looked very, very, very stressed. Saturday, Sunday comes and goes, and then Monday she's like looking almost close to breakdown. I'm like, what happened to this girl? And then she's like, I think I need to quit. Why do you want to quit? And then she's like, no, I don't want to counsel people. So if that's the job, if that's the role you have for me, then I don't think I can continue to be in Thrive. And she was so sad that she had to quit and all that. And then I was like, you mad girl, like, there's always different opportunities. And we were just thinking of the academy at that time. And it just worked, right? Like, so you don't always have to, like, that's a very beautiful point
Exactly.
that you made, that you don't
So the
always have to do
perspective
this.
that you
Yeah.
were talking about, no, Mugda, that changes when you like are in the practical world out there practicing what you've learned, and it's not enough. It's not. I cannot even remember how much of I've I learned while I was studying, how much of it I had applied actually working with iThrive. So I don't remember that. It's always about learning new things and keeping yourself updated and in touch. So that's the most important thing which I have observed across my span of working.
Yeah, because even like, see, I studied, like, I did my master's a long time ago. 2001 is when I graduated. But, and that's how I realized that it was quite a big journey for me of learning and unlearning. Is my screen frozen, or is Ria's screen frozen? Like, is it my
No,
internet? Oh,
no, I think Riaz,
yeah.
Riaz.
Yeah. So wait, I'm adding her back in. Yeah, Ria, you're back in.
Yeah, yes, I'm so sorry.
I know it's okay. We live in India. We all expect internet issues. So I was saying not only that, like for me, the fact that I had to unlearn and relearn so much wasn't surprising because I was like, okay, 2001 and now this is 2020, 2019. So it's okay. But what I realized is even the young girls who, like the girls who we recruited last year's recruitment when they came out from colleges, even the ones that are now doing their internship with us, they all tell us that what they've learned in college and they actually get to see in practice here when they work with clients, there's a huge gap. It's a huge big gap, right? So that thing is really important, that you have to understand. Yes, college gives us the basics. We learn the vocabulary of nutrition, right? We can quickly make menu plans. We can quickly do that in our head because that's like, your basics are set. But it's really truly about learning beyond that and then being relevant to the world. So that's something that I think is, both of you brought that out beautifully. um to me now, one more thing, and I keep telling Anu ma'am this, and I think even when we formally spoken at another place, Ria, you and I with Anu ma'am there, I had spoken about this, that nutritionists really deserve to be on the pedestal. They do. And often we just put doctors there because that's how we've been conditioned since childhood, that okay, if you're ill, then you go to a doctor and doctors will give you medicines and they'll make you feel better. But the more work I do, the more I see that it's really people like us, people who bring natural solutions, people who teach people about their bodies, who show them the power of food, who show that the kitchen is where health is made, not in a doctor's pharmacy. So nutritionists need to be really put up on the pedestal, and I don't think we get the credit we deserve. That's my personal pet peeve and perspective. What do you think, Anu ma'am, can be done to kind of really put the spotlight on nutritionists to show how immensely powerful this kind of work is?
Okay, I'm an optimist. So what I have seen is that nutritionists were never given their due. But
Yes.
today, I see soaps. The heroines have now become dietitians. That's fantastic. Giving
Oh,
us,
oh, I
yeah,
don't have TV, so I don't know. Is that right? I
yeah,
didn't know this.
yeah, yeah. See, one of the main heroine to be doing pretty well in that particular show, that she's also earning pretty well, has now changed. People have now realized there is something called a dietitian is to make my diet perfect only if I am active. But they
Hmm.
don't realize that if they come to us, preventers, and they go into the healers who are the doctors who disease comes in, we can actually stop problems. Feel
Absolutely.
if I feel that there is a pain here, those make the people go to the doctor. I mean, like doctor. So something like a heart attack or something, then they realize the role of a dietitian is a dietitian. But why don't they come before? Now this needs to sink in hard, otherwise. So these kind of platforms probably that nutrition is something which has to start from very young. Be trained because even they are the ones who feed us. So if they know nutrition is at home in your kitchens, and what we are affecting us through your containers that you use, that you keep in your kitchens, the kind of processed foods that you use, be sort of given out somehow to make sure that people do see a lot of people giving lot of messages, but there is a too much of knowledge knowledge being given, which sometimes goes. So I think those little things, even in school, whenever you have a parent teachers meet, I think a nutritionist
Should be there,
should
absolutely.
be called, and she should tell them that what is and how to keep her health also proper, because to others they think that they have to eat and they go and eat same problem. So why do you have to do all that? Just do this. So, and again, what I'm seeing is when I tell people that please eat nuts or take magnesium, there are, okay, just because Mugdha told me that this will stop this, let me buy her this thing and start. Over one nutrient is going to cause a lot of harm. So this something needs to be, to have to realize that you cannot just keep popping pills, but the same who requires a supplement. Not
Yes.
everybody requires. Okay,
Oh, this
needs
is
to.
like such a big thing. Like so many people come to us and they're like, just tell which supplements to eat and I'll take all the supplements. I don't want to change my food habits. And we keep telling them supplements are only because you're not getting it from food. Like let's say you're not getting sunlight exposure and then you need vitamin D on a daily basis. That's when a supplement comes in. If you're not getting B complex from your food because maybe you're a vegetarian or you have gut issues and you can't absorb, that's where you take a B complex supplement. You can't out supplement a bad diet, right? Like never. You can't exercise or supplement your way out of a bad diet that is like going to harm you in the first place. So that's critical. And I'm glad like to hear that mainstream soap operas have dietitians is one of their heroines. Or yeah, you can't hear
That,
us, or you're
I
yeah.
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
yeah.
You're
Can
back.
you see
Now,
me?
now.
I can see you as well.
Okay,
Yes, you're
okay.
audible and visible.
Thank you so much.
So good, welcome back. But we were just discussing that, right? What does it take, or what is needed to really help nutritionists completely embrace their power? Because now apparently, like Anuma was just telling me that on a recent soap opera, one of the main protagonists is a dietitian. So it's so good to hear that it's
Oh,
like yeah, it's a mainstream profession. But I think sometimes even nutritionists and dietitians themselves are afraid of like really claiming their power because like I've been interviewing so many every time we have to make hiring decisions here, and then we have a lot of them who come from clinical settings, who come from hospital settings, and when I question them on how much did they really work on the case, right? Like how much were they involved in truly making an impact to the patient's life, it's about 10 or 20%, Anu ma'am, who really have had the ability to like question the doctor, tell the doctor that, hey, this is wrong, let's do this and let's make this dietary change, no matter what critical case it might have been. The remaining really mostly follow doctors' orders. And that's what I mean, like, making nutritionists really understand that the amount of, so it's 7 years, right? Like, it's 7 years of masters that we do and we learn about food even though it might not be the most clinic like there might be a gap in terms of practical applications on the field versus what we've learned, but still we've learned more than any doctor has, right? Like they get a total of maybe 30 minutes or an hour in terms of learning the basics of nutrition. So that's what I one is like us openly coming and speaking about it, talking about it, showing what success looks like, having the courage to really tell people that, hey, food can prevent and reverse diseases. So that's one thing I think. Ria, what do you think? What can be done for
I would
nutrition to own
want to
their
add
power?
to this, Mugdha. It's not just about them learning nutrition about half an hour or 1 hour. It's all about the new information that keeps on coming in, right?
Right.
Because some nutrition guideline that was true 2 years back
Absolutely.
would not hold true now, right? So that updates in the knowledge in the current findings is also important.
True. And I
Absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that is super important because even now we meet so many doctors who think ghee is bad and saturated fat is bad, right? And
Exactly.
then yeah, that's
No, but
that's
I
so
don't
true.
blame the students also, because sometimes in our we tell them, okay, plan a menu plan. So we give them an aim and an objective calculate the body and see how much of energy actually doing that. But the problem is when they go into when the dietitian should be open enough, like a mom chances are, because reversal is something which not takes which is if you're genetically inclined. So let's take a simple thing like it's pretty rampant. I think everybody has it. And some of them are reversible, but some of them are not. The ones which are genetically prone, so even the doctors are feeling today that if you give the diet, it can be reversed completely. There's no need for you to take the medicine, right? Experiences,
Right.
which you have faced because you have worked with those kind of patients. Now, a young girl just comes in from the college, she will write exams about her, or some teacher has taught her that this is what you have to do, this is this, or this, and so you have to work on these. But actually, you're not taking up feedback, or you're not adding the experience who have actually reversed the cases. So even you are claiming that there are this, because I keep hearing that. Now, when you say it's completely profiles, which we never taught you in the class, right? I
Right.
don't think so. So you are following. So I don't blame the kids. I really don't blame the kids. You guys mentor them and tell them that this is
Yeah,
possible.
and I think
So even
the
a
thing
PC,
that worked in our favor, our ability to do this work, and like me- maybe you didn't teach this to us in college, but how do we know this now? It's because I never stopped learning. Neither
yes,
did Ria, and neither did anyone from the team, right? That continuous learning, that curiosity that, okay, this is what I had learned before, but can I cross this limitation? Can I go beyond this? And can I find out more about what's really causing this disease? I think that curiosity is what's really keeping us also on the cutting edge, and that like really allows us to make the claims that we do, right? Because it's knowledge. In the end, when it comes to health, there is nothing like you can have the most amazing tasting snacks and protein bars, and we can make the best supplements and all of that, but it eventually boils down to knowledge, right? And if your knowledge is not getting upgraded, now one of the things that we're seeing like with COVID itself, like what we knew until 2020 is not relevant anymore, because for people who got COVID, they're experiencing something called as long COVID, which is coming with its own host of symptoms, right? Which never existed before. So we have to learn about it. Or even like with all these different vaccines, right? Some of them have had really bad side effects. So we can either say that, oh, we don't know anything about this, or we go deep and we research and we figure out solutions for it. So that is something that's really like for me and for iThrive, that's what really
and
created growth. Yeah.
somehow percolated into our in our theory papers, with no interaction between what's happening in the industry and what until unless I invite you. Okay, I invite you, and you are not going to be aware of this. The same
Right.
thing, you take PCOS. So I even hear from Tatas that many of the cancers are so just have to correct their diet, and
Yes.
it is reversible. So if
Yes.
that somehow it needs to percolate into our theory, and what happened to the books, right? Okay,
Exactly.
and in the books given. So these kind of things need to be coming on, and so I feel again exposure, continuous medical therapy, like how you can never, you quiet. Even I am learning a lot whenever I read your papers or anything. I you as well, because even I'm learning, right?
Right.
So learning can never this particular profession is exactly like medical. It keeps changing. Good. Then the next day we change and say that this oil is
Yeah.
good, and that's so. Where do we stop? Where do we stop? So I heard I might pour it to the girl, but that doesn't stand true. No. So sometimes we do give out wrong feelers for the girls to in public health. Also, I've seen until unless I experience without spot actually, I might understand that rather than about black dot
Right.
spot and the cirrhosis of the cornea, cirrhosis. What do we dryness until you feel it, you can't tell. you can't actually giving this kind of an exposure when you say malnourished children, child, and have you seen a dehydrated child? Very rare. I not seen them. I don't think Mugdha has seen one. So when you go to the Anganwadis, children are small for date or something, even
Right.
mature. Where have we seen them? What is happening to the mother and what is happening to we even breast engorgement? We are talking it in the class, but have I still? So until unless you experience
Experience some of
yourself,
this.
education is not just theory. So as much as a teacher can do and show these kind of case studies, but today we have videos, so probably we should use as much as possible. Teachers of our age, my age group, we have a very psychology says we tend to दूर रहो digital world से. The problem thing is thing is
No, it's not your generation. Even I don't like the digital world. I really vehemently dislike. But I mean, technology has enabled these kind of conversations. So, what are the chances that you, Ria, and I would be in the same room and then
Exactly.
speak and then like reach out to
exactly
so
and
many people, right? So it's good,
absolutely
but I would still prefer meeting you and like saying hi to you one on one than like having to do this on a video
no,
call.
but this
But
is
I
any
think
day
that's
better
also very
because
important that industry comes into academia so that students can see that beyond their textbooks, beyond the theory,
Yes.
there is something that's happening in the world outside that they need to arm themselves up for.
and I can tell you
So
that each and every home science college must be having these which are so excellent, but they have not come out of the library, don't have
yeah,
the required asset, like how a food technologist can actually make it and show it. Have not been taught all that, so we only know
hmm.
how to make the recipe, that's it. The labeling part, the packaging
No.
part, the all these to be, I feel sometimes
Yeah, and
because
I
this
think Ria,
department
like she did,
Yeah.
you did food product development for your thesis
Yeah.
also, right?
So
What was,
yeah,
yeah.
mine was also what for food product development, and what I felt was if they are not taught this in college, we can try on our own, right? Learning each and every aspect of it to reach towards the end on our own, like taking up the product from ideation up until it's in the market. So that's about exploring and not just sticking to what was taught and taking it ahead. So again, like coming back to the same thing that textbooks and whatever is taught is just not enough. In whatever it may be clinical nutrition, food product development, sports nutrition, public health nutrition, it's all about continuously learning new things and not just applying the same thing that we had learned. There's always new and newer theories that keep on coming up. So yeah, that's what even I learned. And so
you had made a fruit product, what if your teacher had taken the trouble product to the industry and then
Hmm.
they sort of mentor you to we don't know
yeah,
how to so that is where I feel missing, but I'm telling you, if you go to each and every home science, there will be hundreds and hundreds of excellent ready right now, but we don't know how to take it forward. Gluten free, I think you name it. I have been going as and I've seen so many girls making for space nutrition. Can you believe that? Lovely
Wow.
food products and space nutrition. Uh, so they're just lying there. So it's thrown there. After that, what? I've seen lovely wines being made. Okay, when you're making fruit wines like jamun wine, good for your health, right?
Yeah.
And it's got all the phytochemicals. Has it come out? Even if you made it, now you have pomegranate, very good. So what is happening is they are there, but the thing is, it needs a push with the food technologies. So somehow we have to sort. That's why I people to please, come to our colleges, handhold them literally beyond what they can do. I think there is
I'd
a
be
lot of
happy to come back to BMN, Anu ma'am, in
please
whatever capacity.
we require industry to come and handhold the girl. Little window of opportunities in your area. In all the thing is, until unless you come and motivate them that there is really, which is brilliant, and we require so many functional nutritionists. So many of them are there actually. Very few.
Correct.
So
That's
charming
why we
thing.
started the academy. Like, let's train them because, see, one is,
But
of
Mugda,
course,
even after training, you have to still handhold and push
yes,
them.
yes.
Otherwise,
We have to
I
do
don't
that. Like after they
think.
finish the certificate program, also we actually are like we now have even created an affiliate program for each one of them, so that they never are alone, right? So they get the support of the iThrive team. So let's say like someone comes to us, they've done their masters in nutrition, they just want to add on like functional nutrition and learn this aspect of clinical work, right? Like doing blood tests, understanding, interpreting them, and then creating disease specific protocols, learning about supplements. I know personally, Ria knows that even armed with all of that knowledge, it takes a certain amount of time before you're fully confident that, okay, I can really work with this disease, right? That confidence, if it goes missing, if there's a gap, they'll never utilize this knowledge. And then the entire thing is gone, right? It's not about the money they paid us and all of that, but the time and energy we invested in teaching them also is completely unutilized then. So we did that. We actually created an affiliate program. So every person who actually joins our academy, then like, we are with them for life. Because I realize that's the kind of support they need. So even when we learn new things and we do master classes, we do case studies and all of that. So
Yeah,
they're
the
all
case studies
great.
is what I wanted to discuss. That's one thing that we had realized, that we'll be discussing real life cases with them, and how did we deal with them with these particular with these different diseases, so that it gives them perspective when they come across the same problem in their working, right? So that's what we realize. So that's the kind of support that's provided even after a person passes out. And about the community, Mugdha.
Yeah, so
The,
that's what I was saying, that we never leave them alone. Like, you know how we have alumni when we finish college and then we feel connected to college just because we're part of the alumni, right? So we did that with the academy also, but not so much for the alumni feel, more from the perspective, okay, we are here. So all the mentors that you learn from, the 13, 14 faculty members, we are all there with you. So if you get stuck in a case, we'll kind of give you answers, right? And I think that's really important. That post program support is really important to build confidence. That could be one obstacle that could get in the way. And Anumam, again, I'm telling you, whatever, if you need me to come to BMN and like talk to the girls and like show them how they can, how they could really create a career for themselves, become successful, and then, do this kind of work, I would be more than happy to come and talk. Or even if you want me to come and share some of our clinical studies, right? Like sometimes we get some really complicated cases like transverse myelitis and all that, or autism, and then what is our approach? How did we work on solving that? So I'm open. Ria would have been open, but
it,
I don't know how much he can travel right now for a little time. So
So that is
maybe
what
she
is
can.
the need of the hour. I think all the professional nutrition should join hands and sort of handhold all the students, take them forward. Otherwise, if what you're talking right, unless we sort of give them a small little push from behind and
Yeah,
warriors in this area. Yeah, so I think that is the end particular platform that we are all in today. So I
let's
think
do
it is
this.
possible. Yeah, it is possible because let everybody realize that they with them. But the only thing is they need to make it more beautiful in such a
yeah,
way that it brings out the best in them. And
Yes.
also experimentation is the real need today, because if you person they're all experimenting, because what applies to you doesn't apply. Okay, so I think everybody is experimenting, and if they have story that needs to be shared immediately, so that people is the need of the hour. And so I feel that it is, and it can be done. It can be really very well done.
It can, it can. Let's do this. So I'm like all
Yes.
gung ho about this. Let's make nutrition like mainstream, and it should become the first thing that comes to somebody's mind when they like if they get diagnosed with diabetes. Even before they start popping pills, it should be like, oh, let me talk to a nutritionist, let me talk to a dietitian, or and let me figure out how to work on my
One
lifestyle
more
and
thing
making.
here. Let's say one more thing here, that Google is another everybody opens whenever they have any problems. So immediately they go there and find out. When reading reports, people are using Google, and then
Yeah,
suddenly they real. Please, I'm telling you, reiterating this. Please, that's very dangerous. Don't do a proper doctor or a dietitian if that requires. But please, and believe stories what are being shared, because it can. So understand the need, and each new interrelationship. So if you're taking one nutrient, there will nutrient which will happen. So be careful when you overdo, have lot of repercussions. So if you have
yes, absolutely.
hypothyroidism, if you think that I can, doctor gave you 50 mg, if you're taking 75, I'll become even more thinner. And no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Please, I don't know what you're playing with, but thing is, it is very dangerous. So I tell
It is.
you, dietitians have studied for 7 long years that are applicable. So please go to them. Ask them why they are insulin resistance. Why is what is happening in your, ask them why they are telling you not to take this and to take this. They will give you, if you're not interested, they will not talk. But if you are going to talk and find this, each one has a effect on our body. Some of us can reverse most of our health problems, but
The
not
why of
just
it is
eating.
important. I agree,
No,
ma'am.
health is not just eating, physical, mental, social as well. So if we three are talking, I get kept connections with Mugdha. If I don't connect, she'll also not ask. Connection, social living,
Correct.
yeah, spiritual living, and mental health is all packed into one. Don't think that by just eating right, you're going to be normal. Your sleep, your eating patterns have to be good. Timing has to be good, because with so many things, and they are saying if you don't time yourself properly, it take a toll on your health. So, and we are different
Absolutely.
types of intermittent fasting, which works on one person, but it will not work on me, because I regular meals daily. I am prone that way. I cannot, my hunger pangs out. So I cannot do intermittent fasting. So it's not
That's
applicable for me. So let
It's
us
not
adapt it.
exactly. So
done under guidance, right?
No, Ria, why? Because I am a type of a body where I need the, in a, so not everybody is made for intermittent fasting. On equations. You cannot
Yeah, this is where a
give me.
nutritionist would actually understand your internal health in a better way instead of just googling it and finding it true for everyone.
So,
Won't be true for your body.
exactly. So if you say, okay, I'll follow what Mugdha did, it might not work on me. It might not. In a very different
and
manner,
that's
I'm
why the blood test, and that's why we do this, right? Like you have to figure out what is specifically required for you. Your individuality cannot be disregarded. And
so
that's
that
why
is why
diet
again.
can never be one size fits all.
So again, that Mugdha is into an area called functional nutrition. And what is function? Realizing that this is your body type, and then they look, see what is missing, try and link it. They are also research percent, but because they have understood most of the factor to go to them, okay, and that is why functional nutrition stand. And I again wish all the viewers, whoever is going to listen to this, lot of research still to be done, but this really works. We look at our own selves, see what is missing, Please don't apply anything on yourself. It is going to change. So there is a drug nutrient interaction. There's nutrient interaction. Sleep affects you.
Absolutely.
How your mental health affects you. Everything. Nutrition cannot just solve everything. So it is a mixture of everything that Mugdha is doing. A lot of yoga, if you've seen her doing. Otherwise, it won't come down the way she has slimmed down. So physical exercise is equally keeping stress-free work environment, and I've seen them. She took having a good time. So that's another brilliant boss guys that her staff is getting a little overworked probably vacation, and they worked in the vacation. I think I suppose they have worked there. I heard that you people had a good time there,
It,
avail of a
it
time.
was a workation. So
So
there was we just
yeah,
worked from Goa. Next year we're
so
planning
I
a
know that.
vacation. So next year our plan is to go to Bali and not work at all. So
No, probably, but but it is something that yeah, you kept it in mind, and you need to change your premises to get the better out of you. So these really work. You can't be always
I
nine to
can
five, nine.
vouch for that. It really worked.
yeah, it does.
It
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 does.
does.
It changes.
One more reason why it's again mental health. Huh? So she looked
Yeah.
at your mental health. So I feel that so these little small little things. Sure, whoever is listening, please, nutrition is a subject with publicity. Help us reach out to as many as people as it's really upcoming. If it was not upcoming, there will be no much many nutrition subjects being offered. I have
Yeah.
now seen nutrition today, and so there is a need of the hour.
It
That's the
is.
need
It
of
is.
the hour.
All right,
So
let's wrap it. We had planned around 30-40 minutes, but like the conversations have been so interesting that we've gone to nearly an hour.
uh,
So thank you
so
so much for coming here, both of you. It was lovely listening to your thoughts, and I think we shared a lot of insights about the field of nutrition itself, what nutritionists should really be looking for, what kind of mindset should they have, and what are the gaps that they probably should fill so that they'll continue to succeed in their career. So thank you so much, and for all those of you who are watching, thank you so much for being here. And until we catch up next time, Anu ma'am, bye bye for now. And I'd be so happy to come to BMN. Yeah,
yeah,
bye.
we'll definitely
Thank you so much.
connect. Thank you. Thank you.